Missional means that we remain as friends of sinners. I wonder if I were to give you that same assignment, if I were to say to you, go home and write down the names of 2 lost people that are in your life that you can really sincerely begin to pray for and ask God for opportunities to begin a process of nurture, of evangelism in their life, to see if God will use you perhaps to bring them to himself. You see, at some point in their life, everybody's a friend of sinners. I mean, before I got saved, I had more sinner friends than I knew what to do with. What is it that happens when we get converted that we lose friendship with sinners? It's comfortable, I know. It's a lot easier. I mean, singing and worship, the church. I love these things. I believe in the church. But there's a part of me that resents what happens in people's lives because churches lose their missional flavor and believers no longer have lost people in their lives. There's no longer sinners in their lives. It's relational. It's being resourceful. This is being missional. Again, Levi, he follows Jesus. The next thing he does, he's thinking, now, here's Jesus, whom I've begun to follow, who's changed my life, and I've got all these friends here. How do I bring them together? You know, I don't think he went to Jesus and said, Jesus, what kind of an environment do you think you would be comfortable in? What kind of a party could I create that I could invite Jesus to? I don't think he asked him that at all. Matthew knew who his friends were. He knew what they loved. He knew what they enjoyed. And he created the venue for them. He created a party that he had probably created 100 times before for them. And maybe, I don't know, maybe there were aspects of it were different, but they came. They came because they knew Levi really put out a good spread, and we always had a good time at Levi's house. But this time, he brought Jesus. To me, a missional church is one where people think that way. They don't think looking over their shoulder, what will Mom and Papa Christian think, or what will, the elders think, or what will, the university think, or the denomination, They think, here are my lost friends, and here is Jesus. How do I bring them together? What kind of venues can I create that could be redemptive, that could be honoring to God and effective in the lives of people? What kind of venues could I create? And I'll tell you what, if you ask people that have been saved for 30 years, you'll never come up with those venues. The best way to come up with them is to know your friends, to know sinners. What do you enjoy doing? And what can I create that you enjoy that wouldn't dishonor God, but you would enjoy, and I could invite Jesus there? Many of you have heard of Art DeMoss, the insurance magnate, multimillionaire, very generous, but he was concerned as a wealthy man who lived on a big estate, who worked 90 hours a week, for all these other insurance magnates and business people who were so busy, they didn't go to church, they just didn't have time. They were working 90 hours a week. How can I bring Jesus to them? He says, I know what they enjoy. They enjoy a good top cocktail party. And so he would open up his mansion. He would invite his friends to a cocktail party in his mansion. And then he would invite a Chuck Colson or someone like that who could come in and share their testimony. He would bring Jesus and his friends together in a venue that they would enjoy, that wouldn't offend Jesus Christ. To me, being missional is being resourceful, but it's also being a little bit risky. Because the moment you say, I'm more interested in pleasing God and reaching lost people than I am in maintaining the status quo or keeping people happy in my life. I just want to please God and reach lost people. And I'm going to be governed by those principles. Right away, you're going to have people just like these Pharisees who stood there and said, hey, what's going on here? If Jesus is a godly person, a godly leader, a rabbi, and if his disciples are anything like the disciples of John the Baptist, then why in the world are you spending time with sinners? Why would you do that? It becomes risky. But you have to determine what motivates your life. Does pleasing people? Does maintaining the status quo? Are you willing to say, you know, there's people out there that are lost, that people that have maybe been acculturated to certain forms of Christianity would never think of reaching, would never even try to reach, and even if they could, would never reach. They don't care about it. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in ways that have God's approval and are effective reaching them, but may P.O. the Christian world. By the way, I don't ever want to do that intentionally. Well, there are some times I do want to do that intentionally, but I have to hold myself back. But really, that's not why we do things. We don't try to do things in new ways or different ways because we want to, make our Christian forefathers angry at the way we're doing it. If that's what motivates you, then repent. Repent about that. No, we do it because we want to please God, and he's interested in reaching lost people, and I want to be effective in reaching lost people. And if that makes someone unhappy, I'm still going to love the unhappy one, but I'm not going to be...